Greetings and welcome to another episode of Going All In, Get the Edge You Need to Succeed. I'm Dr. McKinley, and today we have another awesome spotlight session with the folks from the Be Well Solutions Distance Dietetic Internship Program with offices based in Solon, Ohio. All right, welcome to the podcast. To get us started, I would love for each of you to give us a quick introduction to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. McKinley, for having us today. We are so excited to share more about Be Well Solutions. My name is Katie Bigart. I am the program director here at Be Well Solutions. And my path, I got my master's in public health in nutrition. And so just love that community sense. And so I actually started off in food service consulting in K through 12 schools. We were a private consulting firm, but always knew I had a love for corporate wellness. And was very fortunate that after a couple of years in that field of dietetics, a role opened up as a wellness RD in the corporate wellness side of Be Well Solutions. So I was a corporate wellness dietitian for a year, and then they decided to start this amazing internship. And I was very fortunate that after their first class, they brought me on as the director. And so I've really been there at the ground level, working with it. And it's the best of both worlds for me. I still get to pursue my love of wellness and promoting that, but also get that sense of mentorship and really mentoring and helping future dietitians. So it's been wonderful for me.
I will go next. Hello, everyone. My name is Tobritzhofer, and I am the marketing manager, and I'm also a faculty advisor for Be Well Solutions Dietetic Internship. So my role is focused on just growing awareness to the internship. I help to strengthen our relationships and partnerships with other organizations and our preceptors and our alumni and so on. And I manage our social media and our other communications materials and things like that. So what led me to Be Well Solutions, I've been a dietitian for a little bit over 7 years, and I've gained experience in a few different areas. I've worked in clinical, I've worked in community, and I worked a little bit in corporate wellness too. And then in addition to that, for the last several years, I have been doing a lot of freelance writing and communications work, which is ultimately what led me to Be Well back in January when I started managing their social media accounts, just freelance. And then in June, I started with them in the marketing position. So that is how I got here, and I'm really excited to share more about the program.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kristine Ordas. I'm a part of the Spring 2020 Be Well Solutions cohort. I am from San Diego, California, and I completed my undergraduate degree at San Diego State University. And then I applied to Be Well Solutions during the spring match during my senior year. And I knew that I wanted to do distance because I wanted to create my own schedule and I wanted to stay in San Diego. So I found Be Well Solutions. I applied. I completed all of my rotations here in San Diego. And I just passed the RD exam this past July. So now, after I passed my RD exam in July, I am a Master's of Science student at San Diego State University in Global Business Development. And right now I'm doing school full time, and I'm also just dabbling into different fields of dietetics to see where I'll end up.
All right, perfect. Well, welcome to all of you, and I'm going to let you jump right into your presentation about your program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So jumping right into it. As you can see here, we just wanted to provide some overview of Be Well Solutions. We are a fully accredited program, and we are a distance dietetic internship, which is something we always like to point out. Our program takes 8 months to complete. So we have about 1,040 supervised practice hours. We'll be going into more detail about that. We love that we participate in both the spring and fall match. So we always like to point that out for interns. We are accredited to accept up to 60 interns a year, but we do put a little caveat on that and say we're always about quality over quantity. So we don't always take all 60. We are very intentional with the interns that we take. So our classes vary in size. Typically, our spring class might be a little larger, around 20 interns, and then you'll see our fall class smaller, around 10 to 15 interns. We are a full-time program, and we have just a full-time track. However, if while in a program that something happens, you certainly have time and flexibility to extend, to lengthen for your graduation. Something very unique about us is our area of concentration. As I mentioned, our concentration is corporate wellness and health promotion. And the reason being is that we are owned by a company called Be Well Solutions, and it is a full-fledged corporate wellness company located in Cleveland, Ohio. However, it does outreach nationally to companies throughout the entire country. And so I used to be a corporate wellness dietitian myself and was a preceptor and taking interns. And we really realized quickly that there was a need for more internships in this new and up and coming field of dietetics, which is corporate wellness. And so we it started in 2015 as an idea, but we accepted our first class back in fall of 2017. So you will notice that Be Well Solution is a newer program, but with that comes a lot of innovation and change, which we think is actually a big strength of our program. Interns a lot of times ask us about the breakdown of our rotations. As you see here, we have answered the change in the decrease in overall supervised practice hours. So our program requires 1,040. We like to have a little bit of that wiggle room over the minimum of 1,000 in case something does happen. But as you can see, one of our biggest core rotations is our clinical, which is 320 hours. And that can be any kind of divvy between inpatient, outpatient. So we are very flexible in how you complete those hours. Food service is 80 hours. And then we have a community and public health for 160 hours. And then our other big core rotation, of course, is part of our area of concentration, which is wellness, which is 320 hours. Something that's new to our program is that then for those last 160 hours, our potential applicants have the opportunity to either complete what we call an emphasis rotation, which could literally be in any field of dietetics that they would like. So it's really wonderful to have that flexibility, whether you're interested in sports, nutrition, communications, the food industry, you name it, and you are able to utilize that for any part. Or if an intern would like to take those 160 hours, they can be called flex hours. And so you can apply those to any of those other four core remaining rotations. So for example, let's say you're someone who's really interested in food service and wanted it to be longer than 80 hours, you certainly could take part of those 160 flex or all of them. But so our interns really, really love how customizable they can make these rotation schedules for them, really, really honing in on the areas that they want to focus on. Here's just a different breakdown of kind of how I went into that. So as I said, you will see on our website when putting together the rotation schedule for when applying to our program that we have either that 5 rotation option or 4 rotation option. It's important to know both take the 8 months and both are still equal to that 1,040 supervised practice hours. One thing to note is you're certainly able to go over the hours as long as you are completing your dates and your rotations within the start and end date of our orientation and exit class. We certainly have interns that go above and beyond on those if there's area of opportunity they wanted to pursue a little bit longer. So another thing we wanted to take a moment to touch upon was our didactic curriculum. A lot of thought goes into this. We know distance programs can sometimes feel very isolating. So we think it's very important that as a curriculum that has a sense of community and really builds on that. And one of the best ways we've been able to do that is our monthly conference meetings, which we absolutely love. So all of the faculty are faculty advisors. So as Bri mentioned, not only is she the marketing manager, she's also our faculty advisor. Not only am I the program director, I am also a faculty advisor, and so is our associate director. And we have other faculty advisors. And the reason being is we never let it be more than a 5 intern to 1 faculty advisor ratio. We like to keep it very small so we can be very hands-on with our interns. And so those small groups are what consist of these monthly conference meetings. So for each month, you're either going to meet to have a journal club discussion or a webinar where we bring in some fantastic expert speakers on a variety of really significant topics in the field of dietetics. And so our interns, when we get feedback from them, just absolutely love this opportunity. It's a sense of really builds that community, allows them to come together. So I can touch a little bit more upon that. But so that's a big component of our curriculum. In addition to that, we have what we call our rotation related assignments. So for clinical, we have an M&T case study that our interns are asked to complete. Food service is a wonderful recipe development assignment. And many interns love this because they can actually implement it when on site from start to finish with their preceptor, which is a really great hands-on experience. And then lastly is our community needs assessment assignment, in which when they're on their community rotation, they have the opportunity to pick a population and really dive into the data on it and comparing it to that of the United States. Some non-rotation assignments are our peer-reviewed research article. Something that's really important to us is evidence-based. That is a driving force at Be Well Solutions. So it's really important for us that our interns understand how to interpret information and current research. So that's one of the first assignments they'll be given. One of our really fun assignments is our dietary trends assignment. So this is a chance when, let's be honest, in the field of dietetics, there's always emerging trends out there. And so we ask each of our interns to pick one of these big trends that they're hearing, for a while: keto, intermittent fasting, you name it. And they are able to create a paper and then presentation that they present to their fellow small groups for that. Something else to address our area of concentration is we take a day out of the internship where we all come together virtually and lead faculty on not only the dietetic internship side, but also on the Be Well Solutions corporate wellness side, come in, and these key dietitians will talk about wellness in all the areas and components of wellness. So it's a really great way for our interns to have the ability to see what it would be like to be a corporate wellness dietitian. And then this really gives them the driving force to then complete their culminating wellness capstone. And so that assignment is due at the very end of the year. And it's essentially a time when an intern will pick any client of their choosing, and they develop from a comprehensive 1-year wellness program for that client, and then have the opportunity to present it at the very end to their fellow interns. So as you can see, we have a very in-depth curriculum, but really our interns really said it has been very beneficial and helpful in their path to becoming an RD. So as always, I think it's important for programs to point out, what does BWSDI offer? What makes us stand out? And so I kind of touched upon this, but our faculty mentoring is really instrumental in the success of our interns. As I mentioned, we keep those numbers really small, and all of us are very hands-on with those interns. And in a big part, we're always in communication. I know Kristine could touch a little bit on that later, but how much that you're in communication with your faculty advisor. And it kind of goes along then with the next one of community. Distance always has that stigma of kind of being out on your own as an intern. And we certainly don't want an intern to ever feel like they're isolated. And so we go above and beyond in creating a sense of community right at the beginning at orientation, throughout that internship, and certainly at the end of exit class as well. So it is a backbone of this program. Something else that's really important to us is our RD exam prep. Many interns really appreciate the amount of materials and resources that we provide for them. So we provide, it's called Pass the Exam Prep Binder by a company called All Access Dietetics, which really teaches not just the content, but the strategy behind how to pass the RD exam. We have a really great relationship with them. And then Pocket Prep, which is just a ton of really fantastic prep questions. But in addition to that, faculty advisor is always there to meet with their intern to help create. We kind of create exam study plans for them. And we have sessions at orientation and exit class on additional resources and a resource page in which we provide for our interns so that when they leave the internship, they really have a plethora of resources that they can turn to tackle and hopefully pass that exam as soon as possible. Next up is our constant improvement. We really listen to our interns. As I mentioned before, being a younger program too, I feel like we have, and being a distance program that's owned by a business entity, we really have the flexibility to change things up, as we like to say. So our interns really love how we keep things fresh in this program. We're always looking at what's really relevant in the field of nutrition and making sure our curriculum is addressing that. So that's really, really important to us. And the feedback we receive from our interns, we survey them, ask for their input on things. And when we get this wonderful insight from, current alumni or graduates such as Kristine here, who has just gone through the program, it really allows us to keep customizing the program for what a distance intern would be looking for. And lastly is our master's degree. We all know that 2024 mandate is rapidly approaching. And so we have partnered with some fantastic two programs, which I'll touch upon, but we've always been very supportive of advanced degrees and our interns doing pursuing that and looking for a master's program. And even if it's not with the two that we provide that with that partnership, we fully support our interns in making sure that we can have that flexibility of a distance program. And I think that's one of the things many of our interns love is distance programs are very flexible to be able to work around whatever master's program they're looking to pursue. And so that's something that's really wonderful for our interns that they like to see. And as I mentioned, these are the two programs that we currently partner with, Cedar Crest College and the University of Alabama. Both are fantastic in their own way. We kind of wanted to have a diverse, different kind of partnership, and more information about both of these programs can be found on our website. So if you're interested in it, highly encourage you to look at both, but you definitely will get preferential treatment if you are a dietetic intern at Be Well Solutions, especially Cedar Crest College. I'll touch upon quickly. You will get a 15% tuition discount if you're a Be Well Solutions intern, as well as automatic acceptance into their online Masters of Nutrition program. So if you are accepted into our program, you do not need to go through their application process at Cedar Crest College. You will automatically be accepted into theirs. So that's been a wonderful streamline for our interns for that, to be able to take that next step and really pursue their master's degree. As I touched upon, something that we absolutely love is our orientation and exit class. I had mentioned it's a great time for a sense of community, but also just it really highlights the resources and the additional support you will find from our program. Something that is really important to note is that now that COVID is hopefully, subsiding a little, we are fortunate enough that we'll be starting these events back in person. They were always originally in person. So that is something very important to note, is that you will be on site in Cleveland, Ohio. And something also is that is covered by your tuition, meaning that your responsibility would be to get there. But once you are there, we cover for orientation, your 5-day stay at the hotel, your food, and then any other transportation that happens during orientation and any other social events that we have. So our interns really, really do love having that opportunity. again, even though you're distanced, to come together and to really know their fellow interns before they're going out on their own sites. So, and yes, our interns just absolutely love the opportunity to be together and to hear these speakers so that they're able to really be prepared to be on their rotations. And then exit class has a different feel. So for our exit class, many, I think internships, it's important that we felt like we didn't just prepare interns content-wise to be successful in their rotations, but you need to be successful as a future dietitian. And so we really have an emphasis on professional development in Be Well Solutions. So we bring in a variety of different speakers on that content alone. So exit class is a time where you're going to have a workshop on interview skills, job searching, resume building, how to write an appropriate resume, and how it really pertains to that of the field of dietetics. You know, dietitian, the resume is very unique to that of maybe a regular resume with your internships and your rotations. How to have an appropriate LinkedIn account and utilizing that sort of networking to your benefit. So in addition to that, as I mentioned, we also have the RD exam prep conversation and a presentation. And then our interns present as well. And something we also do is we bring an RD expert panel where we invite RDs from a variety of different fields, and they come and sit with our interns, and our interns can just ask them questions about their career, how they became an RD, words of advice for these soon-to-be dietitians. So it's a really inspiring roundtable discussion for them to have and to, I think, end before our closing graduation ceremony, and they go out into the world of dietetics. We did think it was important to touch upon our application requirements. Be Well Solutions requires our interns to apply through DICUS. We look for many of the requirements you'll see in other programs, an official transcript, along with a DPD verification statement or declaration of intent, your personal statement, 3 letters of recommendation. Something that is unique is our supplemental application. So it is important to note to go on our website. We do have one with a $75 supplemental application fee, and that includes a proposed rotation schedule. So just like other distance programs, interns realize that if you're applying for distance, many are going to ask you to complete a proposed rotation schedule. So here is an example of one. And when at that last column on the right, when it says confirm site, we just need a verbal confirmation. You don't need to collect any paperwork, anything of that sort. So that's really important to note. And then we always like to talk about the GPA because I know that can be a sensitive topic. So we prefer a overall 3.0 DPD GPA, but please note that we have accepted interns with lower GPAs if they have shown stronger suits in other areas on their application. And then lastly, we just like to say, please connect with us on social media if you haven't. We really put a lot into it. Bree has done an outstanding job on all of our different presence here on our social media platform. So you can learn a lot about Be Well Solutions if you follow along, and you can DM us, ask us questions. And certainly we are very hands-on even with our potential applicants. So I think I know Kristine and I talked a bunch before she even applied to Be Well Solutions, so, you know, with her asking a lot of questions. So we know this is a really big decision for you and want to make note of that. Please reach out to us at bwsdi@bewellsolutions.com if you have any questions to ask more about that. And that is our presentation.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that overview. I'm going to jump right into the 5 questions that I ask all programs that come on the podcast. And these were put together with the help of my students to make sure I was asking the questions that they really wanted the answers to. And so my first question is, what is one thing in particular that you just really love to see when you're reading an applicant's personal statement?
Great question. And I know Bree has a little insight on this question, I'm sure, as well. But I like to say the phrase show, not tell. And what I mean by that is, many interns like to start off by saying, I want to be a dietitian because I love nutrition. And I like to joke with them, well, I would hope you love nutrition so that you be applying to the field of dietetics. And so I want to see more than that. We want you to go above and beyond and really get into the specifics, what big moments in your life are why that impacted you to want to be a dietitian, to apply as a dietetic intern, and then go into more detail even than the next steps. Translate that into your future goals of as an intern in our program, and how you are going to apply what you learned as a DPD, intern in your program, and to be a successful intern in our internship. And then next, how that's going to translate in as a future RD as well. So I think the more specific you can be in providing those concrete examples, I personally really love to see that. Bree, what else would you like to add to that one?
Yeah, and just to expand on like the being specific, like the importance of that, we definitely like to hear why interns are applying to BWSDI specifically. Like what led them to apply to our program? What specifically are they going to bring to our program? What makes them stand out? Is it the corporate wellness emphasis that is causing them to want to apply? And how exactly do they think that this program is going to help them reach their career goals? That's what we like to see, just so that we know that they have done their research on our program and they're not just applying to it just to apply. So that's what I would say.
All right, Kristine, as a graduate of the program, a successful applicant of the program, do you have any tips for a successful personal statement for this program?
I'd say to show off. And even though, I feel a lot of dietetic students are humble, but I think the personal statement, that's your chance to show off. Like what are some qualities that you think are going to make you a good intern? Is that because you're good at time management? Are you a great team player? And if so, what are some examples that show you are fit to do the internship right now? So I think showing specific examples of qualities that show you're prepared for the internship is important to put in your personal statement and overall application.
Awesome. All right. Well, my second question has to do with resumes. This is true or false? An applicant's resume should be one page and one page only. Either way, why?
I would say false. I'm sure many will say, oh, it could be true or false. But if I had to pick one, false. And the reason being is we look at quality over quantity. So I will say that, but especially for Be Well Solutions, we get a lot of non-traditional students, meaning those that have had a lot of work experience that are then coming to us to be a dietetic intern. We want to see that, and all I have to say is that if the experience is relevant and it happens to be longer than a page, please include it. And if you think, as Kristine was just touching upon, it really highlights how you'll be a successful intern. I think that it is pertinent to have. And so we don't mind if we see more than one page. One thing I will say is with that, to me, sometimes it's the organization of the resume, the grammatical errors, the design that actually stands out to me more than just the length. So I'll put my little 2 cents in there. Please, if you're going to be including a resume, make sure it is beautifully designed, easy to read through, and does not have any grammar errors, because that definitely stands out to us.
All right. Well, that actually leads nicely into my next question, which is my favorite question to ask programs. And this has to do with things that an applicant may do that might raise some red flags for you. And you might think this applicant might not be the best fit for this program.
Great question. Being a distance program, communication is extremely important to us. So I always say that from the get-go, that initial email you send to us about info about the program, all the way through your phone interview, the application you send to us, that communication voice should be professional throughout the entire way. And so if we have someone that reaches out about setting up a phone call to learn more about the program, and then there's a no-show, I mean, goodness gracious, that is a red flag to us. And certainly also the way in which they communicate. If it's just a short, hey, can I learn more about the program? Thanks, bye, kind of vibe, that's definitely, it's more, what can you do for me than what can I do for you as an intern, and really highlight how I would be an asset to you guys. And so I highly encourage you that if when reaching out to not just us, any program that you are, be very intentional. Read about the program. It's something that's really important to us, that if you ask a question that is like highlighted in numerous ways on our websites, and it kind of shows that you didn't read about us. And so I think that also just shows that if someone is coming to us with questions that you can't be found elsewhere, that really shows, wow, they've already done their research and they want to know more. And we love those kind of interns. So definitely great communication is important for me.
Yeah, so I think one that Katie touched on this a little bit, but one thing that would stand out as a red flag to me is just being like unprofessional in general. So showing up late to an interview or having grammatical errors, not only in the application, during the application process, but also through emails and other communication methods. If you're spelling things wrong, if you're being really unprofessional with that, then that would definitely be a deal breaker. And I also think just like if there's an incomplete application, if there's missing pieces, then that's of course going to be a red flag. We want to make sure that the entire DICUS application is filled out. And if there's a missing piece, then that would probably be left out of the of being considered.
All right. Well, my next question is a good one for all of you. And it's, what is one aspect of the program that you really feel separates you from the competition?
I would say support specifically from our faculty advisors. That is the feedback that we always get when we survey our interns. It's always 10 out of 10 that they truly never felt like they were alone. If there was ever a situation, it was resolved immediately. And that they, one intern joked that you're the least distance internship program. And I thought that it was a really great way that she put it, meaning that like, we had all the wonderful aspects of being a distance program with that flexibility, customization, but you didn't feel like you were isolated. Your faculty advisor was a call away, an email, your fellow interns were. And so I just think that support, I promise you, is worth it in the end, because that's going to really be what gives you that wonderful experience you deserve to have in your internship.
Another thing that I think is really unique about our program is just the fact that we have a few really fantastic partnerships with leaders in the dietetics field. So Katie mentioned this earlier, but we have a really strong partnership with All Access Dietetics. So our interns get to interact with them quite a bit throughout the program, and they get access to some of their resources, including their the RD exam prep course. And then a couple of other partnerships that we have are with Professional Courage, which is an organization that does different like professional development presentations for the interns and teaches a little bit about leadership, just giving interns another resource to help them grow as they begin their careers. And then I think we have done a couple of things with Stacy from Nutrition Jobs in the past too, which is a really interesting resource for interns to have access to. And I think just those partnerships gives them access to dietitians who are working in really unique areas of the field that they may not be able to get experience with during their core rotations. And then to add to this too, of course, I'm going to say this as the marketing manager, but we are pretty active on our social media accounts. And this gives prospective students and interns a chance to really see like the behind the scenes of our program. We have interns and alumni who do takeovers, and we do little spotlights on all of our interns and our faculty just to really kind of tell the story of our program. So I think that's just another thing that is unique and just kind of a different way that we are reaching prospective interns.
For me, I think something unique about the program, and to reiterate what we've been saying, I feel is a general theme for Be Well, is how much support, and not only through the internship, but from start, in between, to finish, and beyond. And a few moments I'd like to point out. I remember one of my rotations fell through, and it was a week before I had to start. And Katie was my faculty advisor. And when she even contacted me, she told me like, "Hey, your preceptor fell through X, Y, and Z, but I found another option for you." And just from that, I felt so supported, and I didn't feel as stressed as I needed to be, compared to maybe some advisors won't even go out of their way to find another preceptor for their interns. So I like that as well. And another time I felt incredibly supported is when I was completing my grad school applications during my internship. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm currently in a global business development master's of science program. And, just moving from nutrition to business is, I feel, a whole different field. And one of the other faculty advisors and the associate director, Kristine, she helped me out a lot on my application and my personal statement. And she wasn't even my faculty advisor, but she took the time to help me, and she took me in. And I really enjoyed that about the program. And additionally, from orientation and exit class, I feel that Be Well supports interns beyond. And now that I'm a graduate, I get emails all the time from the faculty about job opportunities. And it just makes me feel that I'm still important, and they still care about me, and they still want me to be successful. So I really love that community aspect about Be Well.
All right. Well, my final question of the 5 is a 2-parter. And the first part is, what are the 3 best adjectives, and these can be descriptors or phrases, whatever's easiest, that you feel describes the program the best overall?
For the program, I would say supportive, innovative, and customizable would be my 3 words that I choose to really highlight Be Well Solutions.
I have innovative, individualized, and leadership, which isn't necessarily like an adjective, but it is something that the internship is pretty heavily focused on growing that skill for their interns.
And I'd say personal, tight-knit community, even though that's 3, and diverse. And I say that because Be Well brings in so many different speakers from all different fields of dietetics. And I think it's really good for the program to expose their interns into different fields.
All right. And very similar is the second half, the 3 best adjectives, descriptors, or phrases to describe your ideal applicant.
I really would say resourceful is important, passionate, and organized for a distance intern.
Proactive, self-motivated, and ambitious.
I'm going to say confident. And I said that earlier, but I think it's important to just be confident and show that you're ready, and that you're ready to do this 8 to 10 month internship, and professionally you're ready, emotionally you're ready, mentally you're ready.
All right. Well, that was all the questions that I had. So to close out this episode, I would love for each of you to give us a quick take-home message to prospective applicants.
Absolutely. So my take-home message is definitely really do your research. Distance isn't for everybody. And we promise you that if we accept you into Be Well Solutions, it's because we truly are confident you are an amazing fit. So I promise we do our due diligence on our end. We read your application with a fine-tooth comb and really get to know you to the best of your ability. So certainly all that effort you put into it is worth it, because it teaches us so much about you. But if you think distance is the path for you, Be Well Solutions is an unbelievable opportunity. And I promise that even if corporate wellness might not be the field that you're interested in going, as Kristine said, we have a ton of resources to support any intern's dreams and passion in that field. And certainly, so just let us know and we will make that come true for you. So the last thing I'd like to leave with that is to just always reach out. If you're not sure, we are so approachable. Love to set up a phone call, get to know you. You have a big investment and decision ahead of you. And so we certainly want to make sure you're making the right one. And so we will take that time to help you to learn more about Be Well, to see if you think if it's a great fit too.
And my take home is just while you are applying to dietetic internships and BWSDI, you really just need to think about what makes you stand out, what makes you different from other applicants. I remember getting that advice all the time when I was applying to dietetic internships, and there is always something, whether it's a specific skill that you have or an experience that you've had, a place where you've worked, a personal life experience that you've had that has prepared you to be a registered dietitian. Just make sure that you're really homing in on that while you are applying to programs. And also, just keep an open mind. This comes into play not only while you're applying to internships, but also when you are a dietetic intern and a dietitian. But when you are kind of thinking through what you want your rotations to be in a distance program, you just never know what you're going to like. And so you just have to remember that there are so many different things that dietitians can do. Our field is growing a lot, and you might go into a rotation, or you might be reaching out to somebody to set up a rotation, just kind of thinking like, oh, I don't really think I'm going to like this, but I'm just checking the boxes. But truly, like, you might end up loving it and then end up working in that area when you're done with your internship. So those are my two takeaways.
I feel like you guys said everything. I'd say if you're on the fence about completing a distance internship and maybe you're scared or just nervous about finding rotations, I'd say just give it a shot, give it a chance, because I was able to create a rotation schedule that fit my interests. And it was convenient because I was within 30 minutes away from my home and because I had potential employment opportunities afterwards. So just keep in mind that even though you do have to put in a little bit of extra work and paperwork and, a few extra emails and phone calls, it can truly leverage you to be in the career and position that you want.
All right. Well, thank you, all of you, for being with me on this episode today. And for those at home who would like some more information on the program with Be Well Solutions and to get in touch with Katie and their advisors, I've provided that link in the description below this video. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode with another awesome dietetic internship. And we'll see you next time. Ta-da! That's